I never thought the dusty plains of Montana could feel like a prison. But growing up in our family ranch outside Billings, that's exactly what it was for me. My name is Emily Hayes. And from the moment I could remember, I was the shadow in a house full of light reserved for my brother.
Dad.
John Hayes was a towering figure, 6'4", with calloused hands from years of wrangling cattle and building our modest spread into something profitable. He had that old-school Western grit, the kind that turned barren land into legacy. But his dreams? They all funneled into Michael, my older brother by 2 years. Michael was his spitting image, broad-shouldered, quick with a lasso, and blessed with that easy charm that won over everyone at the county fair.
Me?
I was the afterthought, the girl who buried her nose in books instead of saddling up at dawn. Why couldn't you be more like your brother? That question echoed through my childhood like a relentless windstorm. I'd ace every test in school, win spelling bees and math competitions. But Dad would just grunt and turn back to praising Michael's latest rodeo buckle.
Mom.
Sarah was softer, but her softness was a shield. She'd pat my back and murmur, "Don't rock the boat. Honey, your dad's got enough on his plate." I'd lie awake at night, staring at the cracks in my bedroom ceiling, wondering what flaw in me made me so unworthy. Was it because I dreamed of circuits and code instead of cattle? Or because I challenged his outdated views on what a real woman should be? Those doubts gnawed at me, turning my heart into a tangled mess of hurt and resolve. I told myself it didn't matter, but deep down, every ignored achievement carved a deeper wound. The breaking point came on my 16th birthday. I'd just gotten accepted into an elite summer tech program at Caltech, fully funded. A golden ticket out of the ranch life that suffocated me. I rushed home from school, letter in hand, my chest tight with a fragile hope. Maybe this time, they'd see me. The family was gathered in the kitchen, Dad nursing a coffee, Mom stirring stew, Michael scrolling his phone. "I got in," I announced, voice trembling. "Caltech wants me for their coding intensive." Dad barely glanced up. "How much is this going to set us back?" "Nothing. It's all paid for." He set his mug down hard. "You're not traipsing off to California alone at 16. End of story.
But Dad.
This could change everything for me. His eyes narrowed, that familiar irritation flaring. "We've got plans." Michael's starting as ranch hand full-time. Family comes first. That night, through the thin walls, I heard him tell Mom, "She's chasing pipe dreams." No rancher wants a wife who thinks she's got all the answers. She'll never make it in the real world, not like Michael. Those words burrowed into my soul, fueling a quiet fire. I started collecting the slights like hidden treasures, the forgotten birthdays, the science fair trophies gathering dust while Michael's rodeo medals shone on the mantel. Why did I deserve less? The question haunted my thoughts, twisting my insides until sleep became a stranger. I taught myself programming on the old library computer in town, fingers flying over keys during lunch breaks. By senior year, I'd applied to Stanford in secret, hiding the forms under my mattress like contraband. When the acceptance came, full ride for computer science, I felt a spark of defiance ignite. This was my escape, my proof. But revealing it at dinner shattered everything. "Stanford took me," I said, sliding the letter across the scarred oak table. Dad scanned it, then tossed it aside. "You're staying put. Community college here. Find a good man. Settle down." That's practical. Michael's heading to Montana State on your dime. 40 grand a year. That's different. Michael's building the family legacy. You'll drop it all for kids someday. It's just how women are wired. The argument escalated in my mind long after the words stopped. How could he dismiss me so easily? Was I really that invisible? That night, doubt and anger warred within me. Part of me wanted to scream, to force him to see my worth. Another part whispered I should shrink.
Conform.
But I chose neither. I confirmed my spot, squirreled away cash from my part-time job at the local diner, and packed in silence. 3 days before leaving, Dad found my bus ticket. You defied me, he roared, face reddening like a sunset storm. I'm 18, I don't need permission. You need my support.
And you ain't getting it.
You're nothing without this family. Emily. You'll crawl back broke and begging. His words hit like buckshot, scattering my composure. Mom wrung her hands in the background. Michael watched silently, his silence a betrayal all its own. I left at dawn with 2 duffels and a heart heavy with unresolved pain. As the bus pulled away from the ranch, tears blurred the endless fields. Why couldn't they love me as I was? The question looped endlessly, but beneath it grew a steely vow. I'd prove them wrong. Not for them, but for the girl they'd diminished. San Francisco swallowed me whole, a far cry from Montana's open skies. My scholarship covered tuition, but survival was a grind. I crammed into a tiny shared apartment in the Mission District, mattress on the floor amid the chaos of 5 roommates. They griped about roughing it on parental allowances while I stretched every dollar. Why did this feel so unfair? Nights alone, I'd question my choices, the isolation amplifying old wounds. But I pushed on, studying in cafes to save on electricity, working cafeteria shifts at Stanford. Then came the hostess gig at an upscale bistro in Nob Hill, serving tech moguls who tossed around millions like pocket change. I'd smile through their condescension, but inside, resentment simmered. These strangers had more faith in ideas than my own family had in me. One rainy evening, I spotted a patron struggling with code on her laptop.
Dr.
Laura Bennett, a cybersecurity prof, became my lifeline after I fixed her bug on a napkin. You've got fire, she said. Channel it wisely, anger clouds judgment, but purpose sharpens it. Under her wing, I patented a biometric auth system based on gesture patterns, navigating IP laws with her guidance. Protect your power, she advised. The world's full of takers. Her belief mended some fractures in my heart.
But the family scars ached. Why had they never seen this in me?
The question drove me harder, turning pain into progress. By junior year, exhaustion was my constant companion, but so was ambition. I'd traded sleep for code, ramen for resolve, all while the ghosts of Montana whispered doubts.
Dr.
Bennett's lab became my sanctuary, where I honed my invention, a security protocol that read user behaviors like a digital fingerprint. Filing the patent was a revelation. Western states' IP laws were straightforward, but I learned to dot every I, cross every T.
Instruing no loopholes.
This is your armor, Laura said. In business, trust no one blindly. Her words echoed Dad's dismissals, stirring a storm inside. Why fight so hard for validation from strangers when my own blood denied it? Nights coding alone.
Y de pausa.
Heart racing with unresolved fury. Was this success? Or just survival masked as triumph? Pitching investors was brutal. 40 rejections in. I hit rock bottom, screaming into the fog-shrouded Golden Gate from my battered old truck. Too inexperienced, they said. Need a male co-founder. Each no fueled the fire, reminding me of Dad's prophecies. Why did their voices still haunt me? I channeled it, turning the bistro into reconnaissance ground. I studied patrons, venture capitalists with egos bigger than their portfolios. 1. Victor Kane. Loved craft beers and bold ideas. I invested my last savings in a brewing class online, then casually discussed IPAs during his dinner. Smart girl, he muttered. But his card led to nothing. Then came Alex Rivera, a quiet investor who dined solo. He listened when I slipped my pitch between courses. Intriguing, he said. But prove it scalable. With Laura's help, I bootstrapped a prototype. Testing it legally through university channels, no shortcuts. Everything by the book under California regs. My inner turmoil peaked. Pride warred with loneliness. Why build an empire if no one from home cared? But I persisted, landing a small seed round from Alex. Cypher Secure was born in a garage co-working space. Just me and 2 interns. We grew fast, first client a local bank, then a chain of Western retailers. Revenue hit 6 figures by year 2, but the grind intensified. Sleepless nights, debugging. I'd confront my reflections. The girl Dad called worthless now commanded boardrooms. Yet the ache persisted, a deep-seated need for acknowledgement twisting my guts. Family news trickled in via distant cousins' social media. Michael's ranch expansion failed spectacularly. Bad investments in cattle tech that went bust amid market crashes. Dad poured everything into it, ignoring warnings. Mom's posts showed strain, the ranch mortgaged twice over, debts piling like snowdrifts. I scrolled in secret, heart clenching. Why did their downfall stir pity amid my rage? Was I monster for feeling a spark of vindication? Laura noticed my distraction. Revenge fantasies are poison. Emily. Focus on legacy, not settling scores. Her advice clashed with my turmoil, but I heeded it. Expanding Cypher to behavioral analytics for fraud detection. We snagged a DoD contract, ironclad, with all legal clearances valuing us at $500 million. Headlines blared. Montana native revolutionizes cyber section, pride swelled.
But so did isolation.
Why celebrate alone when family should share it? The IPO loomed. Projections soaring to billions. I bought a sprawling estate in Palo Alto. Views of rolling hills reminiscent of home, but worlds apart. Furnishing it, I wrestled memories. Dad's voice declaring me a failure. Why did success feel hollow without their regret? I hired a PI discreetly, legal in California for public records, to track their status. Bankruptcy filings. Foreclosure notices. Michael's divorce. Kids in the mix. The report hit like a gut punch. They were broken, just as I'd once been. Inner conflict raged, gloat or grieve. I chose neither, burying myself in work. But the seed of humanity sprouted. Perhaps their pain mirrored mine. A cycle begging to break. One crisp morning, my security app pinged, 3 figures at the gate. Heart pounding.
I zoomed in, Dad.
Shrunken and gray, Mom. Frail in faded jeans, Michael. Eyes hollow. 10 years vanished, replaced by a torrent of emotions.
Why now?
Desperation. Obviously. But my chest tightened with unexpected sorrow. I buzzed them in, mind racing, confront or connect. As they approached, I steeled myself, the weight of unresolved hurt pressing down. They shuffled into my sunlit foyer, eyes wide at the modern Western decor, antler chandeliers, tech-integrated ranch vibes. Emily, Mom whispered, tears welling. I stepped back from her reach. What brings you here? Dad cleared his throat. Voice cracked. We need to talk. We sat in the great room, them on the edge of leather sofas, me standing like a sentinel. Saw your news, Michael said. Congrats on the empire. Thanks, I replied flatly. But cut to the chase. Dad's hands trembled. We're in trouble. Ranch is foreclosing.
Debts.
4 million. We need help alone. The number hung heavy. Why did their pleas stir empathy I'd thought dead? Inner voices clashed. Make them pay. Or show the mercy they denied. The silence after Dad's plea stretched like Montana's endless horizon. My mind a whirlwind of clashing emotions. Part of me wanted to lash out, to hurl every slight back like stones. But another voice, softer, whispered of cycles unbroken, of how their cruelty stemmed from their own unhealed wounds. Why perpetuate the pain? I paced the room, heart hammering. Why me? After everything? Mom dabbed her eyes. We're family, Emily. We were wrong, horribly wrong. Dad nodded, but his eyes avoided mine. Michael shifted. I should have spoken up. I let it happen. Their words stirred a storm. Forgiveness tempted, but betrayal burned fresh. I pulled up old emails on my tablet, legally archived. Nothing hacked. Remember this? Emily's dreams are delusions. She'll never hack it. Dad winced. I was blind, stuck in old ways. Why did his admission crack my armor? Tears pricked my eyes unbidden. You made me feel worthless. Every day. The confession hung. My inner turmoil peaking. Hate them or heal.
He shows vulnerability. Seat.
Let's talk real. Over coffee. Stories poured. Dad's own father favored his brother,
Leaving scars he projected.
I thought tough love built character. I was wrong. Mom admitted complicity from fear. Michael confessed jealousy masked as indifference.
Hearing their sides.
Empathy bloomed amid the hurt. Why had I assumed malice over brokenness? But boundaries held. I can't just hand over cash. Legally, it'd be a mess. Taxes, accountability. We discussed options, a structured trust under California law, audited annually. No free ride, but support with strings, counseling mandatory. Business classes for Michael. Dad bristled. Charity with conditions?
No, partnership. Y kundat.
Inner doubt nagged. Was I softening too much? But the humanity felt right. A lesson in grace over grudge. We negotiated late into afternoon. My emotions raw, relief mixed with residual rage. By dusk, a plan emerged. I'd cover the foreclosure via a low-interest loan, repayable through ranch profits. For the kids, Michael's twins, I'd fund educations via 529 plans, tax-smart and irrevocable. As they left, Dad paused.
I'm proud.
Emily. Truly. The words I'd craved hit like bomb. But I guarded my heart. Prove it with change. Alone. Reflection flooded. Success wasn't just empire building, it was breaking chains. Why cling to vengeance when freedom beckoned? The shift lightened me. Emotions deeper than before. Expansion accelerated post-DoD deal. Cypher hired hundreds. Offices sprouting in Seattle and Denver. But personal growth outpaced professional. Therapy unpacked family trauma, revealing my drive's roots in unmet needs. Why had I equated worth with wealth? Sessions stirred profound sorrow for the child I was, for the parents who failed. I reached out tentatively, holiday cards, neutral updates. Responses came slow, guarded. Mom's first call, we miss you. Tears flowed. Conflict raging, trust or retreat.
He shows caution bridge.
A year on, the ranch stabilized under Michael's reformed management. Classes paid off. Dad attended AA-inspired groups for anger. Per our agreement. Legally sound. All documented. Visiting for Thanksgiving. Tension crackled. Welcome home, Dad said awkwardly. Home, the word twisted my gut. Dinner revealed changes, equal praise, genuine interest in my work. But shadows lingered, old habits died hard. Michael's apology over pie. I was scared you'd outshine us all. Empathy surged, my heart aching with layered feelings. Forgiveness wasn't erasure, but evolution. Back in Palo Alto, Laura noted my piece. You've humanized revenge, turned it to redemption. Her praise validated the turmoil. Emotions I'd buried now surfaced. Richer, more nuanced. Why had pain defined me so long? The answer: to forge the strength. The IPO launched Cypher into stratospheric valuation, $3 billion overnight. Headlines screamed success. But inside, emotions churned deeper, triumph laced with melancholy for lost years. Why celebrate alone? I invited the family to the bell ringing in New York, a test of fragile bonds. Dad's acceptance email, honored to witness.
Arrival stir da Malmström, Hugh tentative.
Conversations laced with unspoken regrets. At the exchange, Dad's eyes welled. I was a fool. The admission cracked me open, floods of grief for the girl denied this pride. We all were, I whispered. Post-ceremony dinner, raw shares. Mom confessed enabling out of marital fear. Michael admitted resenting my brains. Dad owned his sexism, rooted in generational trauma. Tears flowed freely, my heart a tempest of release and renewal. Why hold grudges when healing beckoned? Back west, we formalized aid, a family LLC for the ranch. Me as silent partner with veto on major decisions, legally binding under Montana corp law. No handouts, earned equity through milestones. Emotions intensified. Vulnerability scared me, but growth demanded it. Therapy deepened insights. My success masked attachment wounds. Why fear loves return. Sessions unearthed profound longing,
Turning stoicism to sobs.
a crisis tested us. Ranch hit by drought. Debts resurfacing. Michael's call. Need advice. Not bailout. Pride swelled amid worry. I guided remotely sustainable pivots. Grants navigated legally. Their resilience mirrored mine. Stirring admiration. Visiting. Dad pulled me aside. You saved us, not with money, but example. His vulnerability pierced. Decades of armor crumbling. I love you, he choked. The words I'd craved unleashed a torrent, joy, sorrow, forgiveness intertwined. Why deny this humanity? As bonds mended, my inner world enriched, emotions no longer foes, but guides. Cypher's philanthropy arm launched, cyber education for rural kids. Inspired by my roots. Launch event in Billings, family front row. Dad's speech. My daughter's the real pioneer. Applause thundered, but his pride hit deepest, healing old fissures. Years blurred, but emotions sharpened with each mended thread. The ranch thrived as ecotourism hub, Michael's innovation shining. Dad retired gracefully, volunteering at youth programs, atonement in action. Mom bloomed, pursuing art long suppressed. Holidays united us, laughter over shared meals, stories bridging divides. Yet scars reminded, a offhand comment triggered old pain. But now we addressed it openly. I'm sorry, became our mantra, turning wounds to wisdom. Cypher hit 10 billion. But true wealth was internal. Therapy revealed my journey's lesson, humanity over hatred. Why perpetuate cycles when empathy breaks them? I mentored young women from Western towns. Sharing. Pain fuels, but love sustains. One mentee's success mirrored mine, stirring profound fulfillment. A decade post-reunion. Dad's health scare, a heart attack, unleashed terror. Rushing to Billings Hospital. Fear gripped. Lose him now. After finding peace, he survived. Recovery slow. Bedside. He grasped my hand. You taught me grace. Emily. I don't deserve it. Tears streamed. We all deserve second chances. The moment crystallized. Forgiveness wasn't weakness, but ultimate strength. Emotions overwhelmed, gratitude for growth. Sorrow for lost time. Joy in redemption. The light lesson? Family flaws don't define us. Our choices do. By choosing humanity, I freed myself from revenge's chains, building bridges where walls once stood. Success isn't measured in billions, but in hearts healed, including my own. As I watch my niece's code on ranch laptops, hope blooms, cycles broken, legacies renewed. The girl once deemed worthless now knows her infinite value, not despite the pain, but through transcending it with compassion.